Well, welcome everybody to episode 19 of Level Up, 60 minutes of Q&A where your questions really do drive the show. Now, if you're watching on YouTube or on LinkedIn, just do click on the little link in the chat, and then that will take you over to Slido, which is where you can vote up the questions that you would like answered the most. And of course, you can add your own. Voting's so really, really important. It does help us prioritize our time. Okay, now the disciplines of project and change management are our theme today. So you can ask pretty much anything that you would like on this theme. In the second half of the show, we're going to be focusing again on the benefits of professional membership and how joining can really add value to your career. So something to look forward to there. Look, let's jump straight in today and meet our panel as the questions are already stacking up. And I'm delighted to welcome Tricia Moon, who manages commercial partnerships at the APM. This is the chartered body for project professionals here in the UK. So welcome, Tricia. Great to see you.
Hi there.
Would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Sorry, yes, of course. Working across the partnership program in APM, this is where we develop year-on-year resources to help organisations and individuals build their capability and make progress through their careers. Thanks for having me today, Nick.
Okay, no problem at all. Thank you very much for joining. Next, we welcome back Yogyata, who is a product change leader working in the semiconductor industry, and she's joining us today for her second appearance on Level Up. So hi, Yogyata, good to see you again.
Thank you, Nick. Same here. Good to see you and the panelists again as well. I'm Yogyata.
Okay.
I'm a change management professional working in semiconductor industry for last 10 years with experience spanning in operational and organizational change management.
Okay, excellent. Thanks very much indeed for sharing some of your time with us today. Also returning to the panel is Martyn Kinch. He's a director at Training Byte Size Limited, whose professional career has been focused on helping thousands now of people gain the new skills and certifications that they need. So welcome back, Martyn.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back. Yeah, thousands. I was looking the other day. So we've been working, me and my team have been working with you guys now over 20 years with the APM and the APMG in certification. We've trained tens of thousands of project managers in that time. So we have a really good understanding of certification, what it does and how it helps.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Martyn. Now then, we've got a bit of a special moment. We're all sharing this kind of special moment today, which is all centered around professional project management and the Association of Project Management in the UK and so on, because we're going to welcome Raj Khanna next, who's director and lead trainer at Raj Khanna Associates. And in particular, he actually worked with some other folks on the panel and has helped Ricardo achieve his chartered professional status. Welcome, Raj.
Thank you, Nick. And I'll let Ricardo introduce himself. For me, as Nick says, we've been working now, just like Martyn, for over 20 years with APMG International. And really our focus is providing program, project, change management. Thank you.
Okay, great. And Ricardo makes up the other half of that kind of equation of the partnership, if you like, that resulted in him becoming the very first, I think, anyway, professional to achieve that chartered status via Praxis Framework. Ricardo works as a senior program manager over at Irish Rail, and it's brilliant to have you here on the panel today, Ricardo.
Thank you, Nick. I'm delighted to be here. I'm certainly the least important half of this partnership with Raj. As he said, I work for the Irish Rail, delivering a transformation project on the rail network of Dublin suburban area. I've worked on energy, software, tidal turbines, telecoms before. I would say most of my career always on infrastructure capital investment projects. And I felt that the PMIs and the MESPs and Prince2s of this world did not give me everything I needed on my day-to-day activity. So after some discussion with Raj, I decided to go for the Praxis Framework first, practitioner and then professional certification, which ultimately led to the chartered status with APM, again challenged by Raj, and I would say brilliantly supported as well. And I would start, I like to say here very clearly that I think the APM chartered status is, and I underline on the infrastructure sector, probably the most renowned and valued status we can have as a project or program manager. So, as I said, delighted to have been challenged by Raj for having accepted the challenge, and delighted to be here to share the experience.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And we might dip into some of that experience kind of as we go through the show. And, whatever standards you set yourself in life, however high your aspirations are, having the backing of a professional association to help you get there, and some great mentors and coaches and trainers and educators along the way as well, can make all of the difference. So if you're watching us on YouTube or on LinkedIn and you're thinking, well, you'd like to join us here on the panel, then take that step, take that leap, just mention it in the chat and one of our team will be in touch with you and we'll get you onboarded so that you can join us. So without further ado, let's jump straight into our questions for today. We're going to hear from our question master, who is Charlotte, who is joining us from the Thames Valley. Charlotte, may we have the first question, please?
Welcome, everybody. The first question is from Chris. What are some of the common reasons that stakeholder employees and managers resist change?
Okay, so some common reasons for resisting change, panel. What do we think that those are? I suppose to kick us off, I would say that, the challenge there for many people is that they're not fearful so much of the change, but they are fearful of loss. They mourn the loss of whatever the status quo happens to be. Raj, go ahead first, and then Ricardo.
One of the reasons why organizations or people, individuals cause resistance, to me, it's sometimes breaking of that psychological contract, because change has happened and they haven't been informed. And because it comes as a surprise, technically they believe that's a psychological contract they had, which is broken, and that would lead to resistance in a number of cases.
Okay, thank you. Ricardo?
My experience shows me that people only move or change for two reasons: to get away from what causes pain or discomfort, or to get closer to something that causes satisfaction or pleasure. So otherwise they stand still in their comfort zone. So we need to show all stakeholders, whether sponsors or colleagues or whatever that are involved in the affecting change, the reason behind the need to change. How will they be affected? And they need to understand this very clearly. So we need to give them a reason for that leap out of their comfort zone.
Okay, thank you, Tricia, and then Martyn.
Yeah, I think as humans we're hardwired to resist change. Yes, fearful of it, probably because we don't want to upset the status quo and what we're familiar with. So I think communication, if you get that right from the outset and you're bringing people along with you, change becomes less fearful, and people can perhaps understand more of the benefit and the need for that change and how they can contribute.
Absolutely. Martyn, and then Yogyata.
Yeah, mine's the same. Same as Trish, Raj said, really, communication. Not often, people don't often think about the individuals. What does it mean to me? So if I have a lot of change, what does that change mean to me? And if I don't understand it, I'm fearful of it. I think it is about communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yogyata, what's your experience in this?
I think I totally agree with the rest of the panelists here. But I do feel that the stakeholders sometimes do not understand, or it's not communicated to them very clearly, and that what's in it for them, which makes them resist for that change. Unless and until they don't know what's coming their way, I think that also plays a very important role in the resistance.
Absolutely right, and it's a good kind of bit of feedback, isn't it, for anybody that's involved in communication around change, is to stop and think about have we been able to really understand the position of each of those stakeholder communities when we're crafting those communications. So very good, great first question to get us going. Charlotte, let's move on. We'll take the next question, please.
We've got a question from John in Manchester, UK. I have heard of the 7 R's of change management. Are these important to know as a change manager?
All right. Well, the 7 R's, Yogyata, you're a practicing change manager, so let's go with you first.
I'll give it a shot for the 7 R's. But I think it touches the similar question that we discussed in the past, which is basically the resistance of the change. And if I have to make a bridge out of it with the previous question, we really need to know who have raised the changes, which is basically one of the R's, the risk that is involved with that change, that people need to know about it. And the responsibility, who's taking care of that change or who is implementing those change. And maybe I'm not remembering all the 7 R's right now, but like again, it plays a vital role in the 7 R's of the change management.
Yeah, that's quite all right. Don't worry. We're not going to test anybody's knowledge at this point.
Of course.
But I think the thing to remember is all of these mnemonics are super helpful sometimes. To be able to remember, the 3 pillars or the 7 R's or whatever. But in practice, it's about recognizing a whole variety of different constraints and variables that are involved in managing the change. Raj, go ahead.
One of the main R's, which was mentioned by Ricardo earlier, is to understand the reasons. And we talk about creating the urgency. And if people don't understand the reason for change, we've had that issue with COVID, people don't truly understand all the effects that the virus is likely to have. And unless we make that very clear, the individuals are going to resist change and not move on to go from the old to the new.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricardo, go ahead.
Yeah, I see the 7 R's as a business case of change. Top management typically develop strategic business case focusing on the delivery. Sometimes, luckily, identifying what benefits are to be expected, but they forget that change, as in transformation that people need to go through, that also requires a business case. And I would say at least as important as the delivery business case, but unfortunately so many times neglected.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other R's, I think, may well be the, kind of resourcing the change. And I think it's fair to say that on occasions, you really do need to staff up. You have to accept that you need to staff up in order to be able to deliver, a certain pace of change. Sometimes in organizations, depends what it might be and how transformational it is versus transactional and those kinds of things. So do have a little think about all of that. Martyn, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say also, we were talking about communication earlier, and it is a communication of responsibilities. What are the responsibilities of the stakeholder responsibility? I think they need to be clearly communicated. That's communication again, I guess.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think when you are in those leadership positions, by, taking the action yourself and being able to kind of live the change that you want to see in the organization is a great way to inspire others to come on that journey with you. So very good. Thanks very much indeed. Charlotte, let's go on to the next question, please.
So a question from Ronald in Brighton in the UK. Are there any techniques that can help with remote change management?
So, Martyn, go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm just still...
Okay, all right, no problem. Raj, we'll come to you first, and then I'll share some thoughts.
With any kind of remote working, one of the challenges is to carry on doing what you did before, but only through the computer system. That's all. And whatever mechanisms you had, for example, I was spoken to somebody last year, and what they do is every morning as a team, they have a half an hour coffee time where they don't discuss work. They just come together as a team, like you would do in a normal working situation. You discuss what was on EastEnders or what was on the television the night before, the fact Manchester United lost yesterday. All of these issues are what they discuss in the first half hour. And if we do that as part of change, and make that part of our communication network, then I do believe we can start to still use remote working as we did with any classroom or meeting room working.
Okay, thank you. Tricia, what are your thoughts on this? You've got a hybrid model of working at the moment, sometimes in the office, sometimes not. How are you managing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've all learned a lot. I think having to work remotely and support each other online has sort of facilitated a more human angle. Everyone's getting to know each other a little bit more. As strange as that sounds, you'd think you'd know people best by being with them face to face. I think we've seen quite a shift with working at home and COVID. A big focus on mental health, which must remain forevermore. I think we're all getting a bit better at that, knowing how to look out for each other. I think you've got to learn to pick up on different signs and signals remotely where you're not necessarily getting the body language or nonverbal clues as much as you would face to face. So I think we can all learn to be better in that respect, most definitely.
Okay, thanks very much indeed. Some good advice there from the panel. Let's move on now. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit if we can, Charlotte. So can we take the next question, please?
Question from Jeffrey, Amsterdam in the Netherlands. How important is data in change management?
Okay, I would say that data is super important now, especially when you're working with distributed teams. Gather that information in, make sure that you're using all of the collaboration tools that you can to gather in information, not just from the loud, shouty people. Raj and then Ricardo.
This comes back to the area we talked about earlier called reasons. A number of people will talk about reasons and say, we've got this problem, we've got that problem. Well, that isn't going to be helpful in convincing the leaders to do something. So when we talk about reasons, it must be evidence-based. It's very important that the data where it's collected from is reliable source, and where possible, that data needs to be triangulated. And if you've got the evidence to hand as to what's happening, and that's what we've been talking about with COVID, if the data is relevant and the data is reliable, then it is absolutely crucial in understanding the reasons for doing that change. And other data aspects will come later. That's the starting point from my perspective.
Okay, thanks very much, Ricardo.
Well, I think that is not important only for change management. It's important throughout any organization. We cannot have decision-making properly undertaken if we don't have accurate data. So I think we need to focus on data to ensure that throughout the organization, governance is a function that is well developed, undertaken, that everybody has access to the same information, that each piece of information represents the same thing for everybody throughout the organization, and that we all have one common system to access and produce data within the organization.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Some really good counsel there from the panel. Very good. Charlotte, next question, please.
We've got a question from one of our panelists, Raj. When should a change manager be appointed?
Okay, in a project lifecycle, then when should a change manager be appointed? What are our thoughts on that? Yogyata, when would you like to be drawn into being involved in a project? At what stage?
For me personally, I would rather be involved at a very early stage of the project, so that I'm aware of my actions, communication is being followed, and I feel that sometimes this is also missed in many organizations, and that is where we have kind of an issue with trying to implement change management / project management.
Absolutely. Ricardo?
Very simple answer. Since the beginning of the idea formulation to the very end of benefits realization, you need to have the change management team sitting at the big decision-making table. Otherwise, change won't happen.
Absolutely. So it's pretty clear from the panel. I think we're pretty much unanimous on that. Lots of nodding going on, that the earlier it is, then the better generally. You can be advised and you will have a better outcome. Very good. Let's move on. Charlotte, we'll take the next question, please.
We have a question from Peter in London, UK. What are the emerging trends do the panel see in project management at the moment?
Tricia, go ahead.
We're obviously heavily involved in research as one of our disciplines. So we're seeing a lot of change at pace all the time. Some of the key, there's plenty, but I'm just going to draw on a couple here. Adaptive project management, and that can mean so many different things, but how to have hybrid models of project delivery, starting with methodologies. Gone are the days of just picking one methodology and having it see you throughout the life of the project or the program. It's knowing when to flex and use those different methodologies and approaches. Coaching is just flavour of the month everywhere at the moment, and it's certainly being embedded a lot more, and we're seeing it coming out in real big, good pieces of work across all industry sectors, because the aim is to get better outcomes for your projects by using coaching at the right time with the right people and the right skill sets. And data analytics, that piece around data, I think we'd all put our hands up to saying we've all got masses of data. It's all coming at us left, right, and centre. But having that one version of the truth, but knowing how to best use the data for those decisions. So we've got a lot of research and a lot of pieces of work going on where we're looking at what does it mean to be in the right space as far as data analytics is concerned. So just three topics there.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's really super helpful. Thank you, Tricia. I might come back to the kind of data analytics in a little while, if I may. Ricardo, go ahead.
I'll try to get away from the typical fight or quarrel between the defenses of waterfall delivery approaches and the agile manifesto. I certainly wouldn't like to cross a bridge that has been delivered with an agile methodology. But there's one thing that it's undeniable. The infrastructure world, the waterfall defenders need to embed themselves in flexibility that can only be achieved with an agility mindset. So we all have a lot to learn from those in the agile world, how to flatten and how to get faster decisions, flatter governance structures, more efficient in getting through gateway reviews, for instance. So there's a lot to learn, and I think flexibility here is the key word.
Okay, thank you very much, Raj.
One of the challenges we've got in any of this is the different frameworks with different terminologies. We're not here promoting one or the other, but one of the things that I believe is very important and essential is for the organization to have its own approach to program and project management and use the terminology that you would want to use. The classic words I use, thank you, can be thank you, merci beaucoup, dankeschön, dhanyavad, shukriya. Well, we have to decide what language we're going to use. So that's very, very important. Whatever trends are out there, we need to make sure ours are better. And just to finish off on Ricardo's point, and that methodology, when you're doing the foundation part, for any change initiative, you decide which way will work better. As Ricardo says, if it's a bridge, it has to be waterfall. If it's something else, and it be incremental. And the judgment is made per initiative. Both have got going. But really, for me, get your corporate methodology done. And that will help all of these for you.
Thanks, Raj. Martyn?
Very quickly, I'd say it's a really exciting time. We're seeing a lot of the people that are coming through our training merging roles. It's what Tricia said. It's about the hybrid role. It's a new hybrid style of project manager coming through, where you're combining skills of business analysis, particularly data analytics. Data analytics has become a huge thing that we're seeing through about using data in the business. Design, project managers get more involved in design of products. With exciting technologies like AI, the metaverse, the cloud, there's a whole range of things. So we're seeing this new hybrid project manager coming through. It's got much wider skill set than perhaps the traditional project manager had.
I think that's very true, and the way in which our work is so enabled now by by IT, by software, by integrating services together. It means that data is at the heart of understanding where you are. In my early consulting career, the PMO, people in there every Thursday afternoons were when the program board actually met, and Wednesday nights the lights were on really, really super late in the PMO office. Now, I'm not suggesting that data is the answer, real-time feeds are the answer to all of that. They probably still work very long hours, but at the same time, it's critical now for us to be able to understand and interpret, data. It really, really is super important. And those additional skills of understanding the role of the business analyst and truly getting our heads around that provides for a much more well-rounded, if you like, project management profession for the future. So absolutely right and proper. Thank you very much, panel. Charlotte, we'll take one more question before we go to the focus topic. So go ahead, please.
Okay, we've got a question from a live viewer. Are there scenarios in which managing change is not required?
I would argue probably not is the short answer. I think everything, no matter how incremental, still needs a degree of conscious thought to manage it. But go ahead, Raj.
Absolutely agree with what you've just said. Introducing a single process, even from Apple, to go from version 14 to 14.8 or 14.9, it will involve something different that has been delivered, which means we have to get people to transition from the old way of working to the new way of working if we are going to deliver the benefits that were ironed out, the reason why Apple decided to go from 14.8 to 9. So personally, I don't believe anything that we do, anything new rather that we produce, does not actually involve change management. Creating a dish for your child on the table, guess what? You need to get them to eat it. So actually, the answer is definite no. There is nothing, in my opinion.
All right, Yogyata.
I think I totally agree with Raj as well, that I cannot come up with a scenario which doesn't involve change. It's simple as that I just can't.
Yeah,
It's
I
personally or
completely agree.
professionally both.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Yogyata. At the moment, I'm trying to adopt the a healthier way of living. So I'm trying to embrace the couch to 5K kind of thing. And somebody's thought that program out. Somebody's written it down. Somebody's trying to motivate me. Somebody's trying to engage me in that. And I have to get engaged. It's not going to happen if I don't get engaged. So, however small the change is, personally or professionally, it needs our active, firm attention and involvement and engagement. So that's great. Well, thank you very much, panel. So what we're going to do now is we're going to change gear a little bit and we're going to move on to our focus topic. Now, for those of you who are following along in Slido, just change rooms now. Just click on the focus topic tab and you can enter your questions there. Now, the APM is firmly now into its 50th year of supporting the project management profession. During that time has grown to a community of more than 22,000 individuals and was awarded its Royal Charter in 2017. So I'm delighted to welcome Tricia Moon from the APM to tell us some more about the association, its memberships, and how we can benefit from it. So over to you, Tricia.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nick. I'm just going to update you there because we currently have just shy of 36,000 individual members working with APM.
Wow,
so
excellent.
Not just in the UK. Yeah. So we've got global reach as well. And through being part of the APM as a professional body, you're going to have access really to be part of and reach those networks. So why be part of a professional body? It's got to have something in it for you, else it's not worth your time and your energy. I guess we've all got two choices when we're driving our careers. We can go it alone, trying to do everything ourselves, or we can build the right resource and the people and the critical friends around us and those networks to help us perhaps progress at pace. And if there's one thing we think we do rather well at the APM, it's bringing people together with a remit of learning, sharing, and evolving across careers right throughout, your journey. It can be a minefield navigating which route is right for you. There's many pathways through the profession. So this is where professional bodies come into their own. It's about giving you that tailored advice and support for what's going to suit you, what's going to fit you and your ambitions. One size doesn't fit all. And through having that route into a chartered body, any professional body, obviously I'm proud to be part of the chartered body. It is the only, APM is the only chartered body for the profession worldwide. So we want to help you all develop with sort of one eye on the future, and we'll look at that a little bit more in a moment. I started out in project management many I was going to say many moons ago, many years ago. There was just no support there. My employers offered little or nothing in the way of development, and I felt I had to struggle on my own to be this perfect project delivery person. If only I'd known about APM back then, boy, things might have been a lot different. So it's no surprise to me that I ended up changing, having a shift in career. I moved from delivering to helping people deliver and giving them access to so much that I knew I was lacking back in the day. And to be part of APM and see how it's evolved over the past 10 years, where I've been, and the massive resource that is available to help you as individuals, but also to help you develop your teams. Some of you watching maybe just starting out. Some of you may be well experienced. You may have teams that you're responsible for delivering projects. Come and work with us on a partnering approach. That business to business behind the scenes relationship is about how we support your capability build because you're responsible for teams. But the individual membership offering that's available to anyone wishing to join really is key to helping you get along. So quite like this starter to charter. I think it's quite catchy. I think it can stick in your mind. And if you sort of think of APM as right, what we're there, we could be on your left shoulder all the time throughout your career. Come to us to help you develop, to open doors, to build those networks. This pyramid here is just showing how you can align with various grades of membership and qualifications which marry with your given level of experience at any one time. And I think we would just want to be that critical friend because we can offer out so much resource to you as you're trying to build your careers. As I said, we're the only chartered body for the project profession. This has been quite a game changer. We've got 2.3 thousand on the register currently, and that's obviously growing with every cycle that we go through. I'll touch on chartered and the routes shortly, but I think I want to really let you know what's in it for you now by becoming a member of APM to see you throughout your project and your change careers. They're very much intrinsically linked. So pick your membership, pick your level of membership. Free student member if you're studying towards a project management qualification. We do so much work with accredited universities, for instance. Come and get everything for free. Why not do that early on in your career while you're studying? And then we would like to think you'd stay with us throughout the rest of your career, where you can progress through associate member, full member, and beyond, because this is about recognising your contribution to the profession. By the time you've got something like 5 years experience under your belt, why not let us give you post-nominals after your name, go through an application route that you get to demonstrate what you've been achieving. So we want to recognise you through these various levels of membership. The benefits really are all designed with just a couple of things in mind. We want to help you progress, we want to help you open doors, and we want you to build that capability. So it's all about you accessing the resources that are right for you at a time when they're right for you. And with everything being digital as well, there's no excuse to get that information on the go or to connect with people on the go. So really, take control and supercharge your networks. Start building them from scratch if you're a newbie. Get involved in the many groups by accessing the community, which we have international reach. So you can be on a platform as an individual member, reaching out to project professionals of every grade in any country and getting that dialogue going and learning and sharing through that particular platform that we're offering to our members. We want to help you expand your knowledge through all of that free informal kind of CPD, continuing professional development. But what about the qualifications and recognition? And here's where we partner with some excellent accredited training providers who roll out those qualifications on our behalf. And indeed help people prep and get ready for chartered, as we've already heard. So accessing digital resources, let us tailor how you want us to communicate with you, never miss out on anything. Get detailed newsletters from us, the project journal, which makes for very good reading, and could even see you having a piece in there if you've got something good to tell us about, or the industry you're in wants to really showcase something they're doing. And so just let us be that constant in your career. I've really only scratched the surface of what you get as an individual member there. But hopefully some food for thought. Right, chartered. Can't go without saying something about chartered. Obviously, it's never too early in your career to start to plan what you need to do to get to chartered. You could be this far away from it. You could be several years away from it. But whatever you're doing now, they're all building blocks to getting you chartered ready, if I can use that term. And we have 3 routes that we can offer. I won't go into the detail there now, but feel free to check out the many workshops, webinars, blogs, the various sessions we do virtually to help people prepare for chartered. Just take a look, get it in your mind, start building your development plan with APM's help to get you all of the knowledge and resource you need so that you can build on the competencies that standard calls for. And there's no end of ways that we can help you do that. I could go on, but I'm reluctant to go into too much detail. But I think I'll leave you with one really interesting fact, and that is every year the project profession contributes circa £156 billion to the UK economy. That came out of some very in-depth research we did 12 months ago. And if you're interested in the report, it is available to download with lots of insights from our website. But, let's all just be super proud of being part of such an amazing profession. And please don't hesitate to reach out via LinkedIn or email or through any other route Nick might be offering to get many more questions answered or ideas shared with your professional body, because we're there for you. Thank you so much for listening.
No, that's brilliant, Tricia. Yeah, thank you very much indeed for kind of taking us through a little bit, and sharing some of that insight. So I've just got a couple of questions for you, if I may, before we go back to the panel. So great job, first of all, in sharing with us a little bit. I love the pyramid from starter to chartered. I think that's really great, and some fantastic advice. It doesn't matter what stage you're in your career. If you're an undergraduate and you're studying, and you're thinking, okay, World's a project beckoning for my employment. Where do I begin? That's a great place to begin. There's always something that you can do, no matter what stage you're at, early, mid, or late career. It's a good opportunity to jump in and get active. So a couple of specific questions. One is, so if I'm a project manager and I'm listening to this and I'm in another country, so if I'm in, I don't know, Australia, or if I'm in, Japan, or if I'm in, Nigeria or Kenya, can I become chartered? Can I become a chartered professional, or is that something which is more focused on folks who are working in the UK?
No, it's absolutely global, and we have quite and I wish I'd brought the stats with me. My full-blown presentation would show you exactly from where each of our chartered professionals come, but we have quite a large growing number from around the world. It helps that we're working with other institutes that recognise the profession around the world. Australia is one that springs to mind at the moment, where we've given recognition for how they assess and accredit the development of people. And so we're able to allow a speedier route into chartered applications because there's this assessment piece already gone on. So we're not going to put people through the pain of being double assessed. We're going to recognise that all that competence has been evidenced. So yeah, it's global. We're delighted and surprised at how interested other countries are. Obviously, we've got the majority from the UK in terms of numbers currently, but every cycle, and we hold for a year, we get applicants from other countries. And so, yeah, and because a lot of the UK companies we work with, they operate globally. So they're rolling out the standard as a default. So it's driving people to us anyway, which, is only good news.
Great. Well, thank you very much indeed. And every journey begins with a single step. So let's revert back to the panel. I know that I've seen more questions kind of coming in and they're stacking up a little bit. So panel, let's pick up the pace if we can on the answers over these next few questions. So Charlotte, can we have the first question, please?
You can. We've got a question from Sharon in Delhi, India. Is it necessary to be affiliated to a membership body in order to strengthen my CV?
Raj, go ahead.
In my opinion, yes, because there's the argument I had with somebody about a couple of years ago on LinkedIn that why do I need a project management qualification? And as was mentioned earlier, we need to start thinking about this as a profession. And my question to them was, would you employ a doctor or a lawyer who did not have any qualifications? And so why would we today want to get a project manager who has no qualification? The challenge is, where does that qualification come from? And if you are part of a body that is internationally recognized, then at least your qualification has weighted value. And I do believe we need to be going down that route. And thank you for sharing the chartered route. That's exactly why we believe chartered is the right way to go.
Okay, thanks, Ricardo.
I've worked in 4 different continents. I've worked in countries where engineering standards are non-existent. And when the engineering standards are non-existent, designers typically use, among others, British standards. So the APM status, chartered status works the same way. It's recognized throughout the world. There's no questions asked. Someone has assessed your skills, competency, experience, qualifications, and has put a stamp on it. So it definitely is a great help in your CV, in anyone's CV.
Okay, thanks very much indeed, and totally agree with that. It's all about keeping current, keeping up to date. Let's press on, Charlotte, please, with the next question.
We've got a question from Ramakumar in Bangalore, India. Are memberships relevant for professional recognition?
Okay, I think it's pretty common, this one, related to the previous question, but go ahead, Tricia.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have an employer who recognizes your work and your achievements, that's one thing, that's great. But to stand out in the profession and be more visible um, as contributing to that profession, not just what you're doing in your current employment, um, why wouldn't you want to strive for that? And a typical example is having post-nominals after your name as a member of the Association for Project Management. You'll find that carries quite a bit of weight. And with the 500 organisations we work for, where they virtually mandate membership and want people to evidence that they're achieving a certain standard, even to become a member, we're seeing it in job specs, in recruitment. So yeah, I think you might be missing a trick if you ignore that there is obvious links there.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that, and particularly for people who are early career. Martyn, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and also it's the discipline and where else as well. There are quite a lot of membership organisations across the world, and it's also being with the right one relevant to the market you're into. So, for example, in Europe, it might be the IPM case, certainly the APM, 35,000 members. The PMI is worldwide, but again, it depends where you are, what pockets, and if you're in Australia, it will be the Australian Institute of Project Management. So it's also a little bit about thinking where you want to be and where you want to work.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of folks now as well, the relationship with their employer has changed fundamentally. So whereas in the past you joined an employer and you expected to progress, for a long time with one organisation, and you look to them to provide you with your career development, your frameworks, your inputs, your sponsoring your training and all of that kind of stuff. Nowadays, an awful lot of people, you have to take this on yourself, as a contractor, or you're working, in an economy where you're working for yourself, and you're selling your services. It's critical that you have this connection, if you like, to a group of like-minded professionals who can help you grow and develop slightly ahead of your earning potential. Because without that, it's really difficult to break out of the current role that you have and into those more senior or, broader responsibilities that you're wanting to attain, once you have got underway with your career. So I would say invest early, take it on yourself, accept it as a cost, just like buying the right clothes or being in the right city or presenting yourself in the right way, and really leverage that investment. Final thoughts, Ricardo, before we move on?
No, apologies, but I think you've corrected yourself. You used the word cost before, but you ended the sentence with investment. That's what I wanted to highlight. Apologies.
Okay.
It's clearly an investment and not a cost.
Absolutely right. Thank you very much. Thank you for for highlighting that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Charlotte, we've got time for 2 more questions, I think. So let's move on.
Okay, we've got a question from John in Manchester. I get confused by the difference between the APMG and the APM. Please, can you clarify?
All right, okay. Well, I can say from the APMG side of the equation a little bit that actually this started off, so APM Group actually started off many, many years ago from a desire to begin the process, if you like, of turning qualifications into a commercial business. And that's our heritage. That's kind of where we began. So we were founded by Richard Farrow, and he continues today to be a fellow of the APM, of the Association for Project. But there's 2 very separate organisations, independent organisations. One's the chartered professional body for project management in the UK, and the other one with the G on the end is the Examination Institute and the accreditation business that is hosting these shows. So related but separate. Okay, right, there we go. Let's move on. Next question, please, Charlotte.
The next question, I think, is a great question to end the show on. What are the top 3 advantages of memberships?
Okay, so panel, let's draw these things up then. So what would we say have to be in our top 3 benefits of being a member of a body? Tricia, will come to you first, and then Raj, and then Ricardo.
Top 3 in my opinion, and what we know works, is having access to people, knowledge, and networks. It's that tailored advice and support for your chosen profession, and being part of that absolutely massive community, and all of the benefits that spill out from being involved directly and indirectly.
Okay, thank you, Raj.
I think I'll go back to membership and just getting away from work. I umpire hockey in the UK, in England, at a national level, and we have a body called NPUA. I won't try and expand out the whole thing, what it means. And it's actually very proud to be a member. If I had time, I'll show you my shirts, and my wife gets a little bit fed up because I have so many of these shirts that I have that NPUA badge on it, and I like to wear them. So whether it's profession, whether it's hockey, whether it's a sport, to be part of that membership, to be part of the community, and I just say exactly what Tricia said, is about being part of that team, being able to share knowledge. Because one of the things we do within hockey, some things happened on the game today. Just before we started today, somebody talked about an incident and they gave a goal. Should they have given a goal or not? And the argument, you can see 20 messages came back. It's a great goal. It's just about being able to share your ideas and develop yourself by listening to others. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Ricardo?
So I think we've already addressed reputation. It's unquestionable that reputation is one of the reasons. But I think that we need to remember, for instance, what Japan did after World War II. They decided to learn from mistakes, but mistakes from others. So it's about being effective, doing the right things, avoiding mistakes, but having the opportunity to network, to listen, to talk with peers and people more experienced to avoid mistakes. So it's going deeper into the knowledge. It's also going wider, because if I'm a project into the knowledge, because if I'm a project manager on the infrastructure, on the railway business, I want to understand what project management is like on the pharmaceutical business, for instance. So I want to widen my spectrum of knowledge. And it's doing better. It's getting access to insights and critical thinking that is continuously made available online.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Yogyata?
Yeah, I think I can add on to the fact that if I was not part of some kind of a membership, I wouldn't be sitting here with the experienced people like the rest of the panelists here. And yeah, it's one of the perks of having a membership. Like you get that exposures and sharing of knowledge and experience of others. And yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Yogyata. You've said it very eloquently. It's spot on, all about that community and getting value out of it. Charlotte, I think we've got just about 60 seconds, so we can have one more question. And panel, we're going to need to be super quick with our answers. We'll just try and squeeze this last one in.
It is a long question. It's from a live viewer, though. How can I organise a coalition to support change? Alone, even with all the methodology, we need other people to handle change. I was thinking about training the line managers, but if they are not keen to be trained, it will be useless.
All right, so this is all about finding who are those agents for change out there. Single sentence answers if we can. Raj, go ahead.
You have to work within the organization and actually get more people understanding where you're coming from. And if you can do that, and the more we come together, the better it's going to be.
Okay, Ricardo.
Develop a stakeholder heat map. Identify who are the informal leaders within your organization and work with them to be the champions of change.
Very insightful. Thank you, Ricardo. Tricia?
Yeah, I was going to come on to champions exactly as you've said. So getting those people around you who are the sort of early adopters, they're quick to understand the benefits because they're going to help you champion that messaging.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So very good. Thank you very much, panel. You've done an absolutely great job. Really interesting session, dipping into the whole areas of project management and change management today. So I'm going to come around now and just ask you all for your kind of closing thoughts on the session for today. Tricia, if you can go first, and then we'll come to Yogyata next.
Okay, just to sum it up, project profession is definitely changing at pace and will continue to do so. Future-proofing the skill sets of the project manager of the future is key. It's work we're working on all the time, and I'm very passionate about. So come and be part of that journey as it continually changes.
Okay, thank you very much, Yogyata, and then Martyn. Sorry, Yogyata, can't hear you. Okay, so we'll come back to Yogyata in a moment. Martyn, your closing thoughts?
I hope you can hear me okay.
Okay. We're a little bit breaking up, so I'll come back to both of you if I may. A little gremlin. Just right at this, just right at this moment, if that's all right. So, Ricardo, your closing thoughts, please.
Yeah, just recommending everybody to look very closely and to enroll in the certification, practice framework certification, which is, in my opinion, the best, the most well integrated project and program management framework available in the market. And it happens to be one of the routes accepted by APM for the chartered status. So I'm so happy I took this path. Thank you, Rajiv, for walking me through it. And I would recommend everybody to replicate.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And Raj, your closing remarks?
I feel as a profession of project managers, we need to be thinking outside and actually combining the role of a project manager and a change manager. These are roles, these are not titles. And I cannot believe you can manage a project without understanding the human side, which is change management. And you cannot do change management without understanding project management. So the more we double up and understand both sides, and that will answer the previous questions, the better outcomes we're going to see.
All right, very good. Yogyata, I think you may be back with us, so your closing remarks, please.
Can you hear me now?
We can, thank you, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, it goes like you cannot do project management without the change management, and you cannot do the change management without the project management, in short.
All right, okay, very good. And I know that we've still got a connection challenge with Martyn just right now, so we're going to wrap this session up where we are. So thank you very much indeed, again, panel. We look forward now to what's coming up next on Level Up, kind of next week. On next Monday, we for the early of the two shows, the first of the two shows, we're going to change times a little bit as the UK reverts back on Sunday to Greenwich Mean Time. So if you're in the UK, 8 a.m. will be the start time for episode 20. On a day that we're really focusing in on careers, and bringing a laser focus onto careers, following what's been called the Great Resignation that's been happening in the US, with more than 4 million individuals resigning their current job in favour of moving to a different one. So in particular on that show, we're going to be focusing in on improving our digital CVs. How do you go about even authoring one nowadays? And where do you host it? And what is best practice for the sites that you should be linking to from that digital CV? Later on in the same day at 1 p.m. on this show, we're going to be looking at improving our technical communication skills. These are often the key, really, to becoming recognised as an expert internally within your organisation and also externally with your peers. Something which we can all work on improving are those communication skills that we use in our day-to-day jobs. So please do subscribe to the show. You can have lots of different ways of doing that now. You can join us over on YouTube. just click on the channel to subscribe, click the little bell, and we will alert you then when we're going live and when we're posting new content. You can also, of course, subscribe to Level Up itself, and we'll send you then a personal summary of what's coming up over the next few weeks and how you can join us here on the panel and level up your career with APMG. So thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you on the next show.